A full year ago, the Ascent was revealed, and it absolutely blew my mind. I instantly thought that this is it. This is my dream game. It's finally happening. A sci-fi Diablo, a cyberpunk Diablo, a top-down action RPG that's got futuristic guns as loot. I made a everything we know about the Ascent video and just absolutely gushed over the game for 12 straight minutes. Most of that info still holds up, so if you want to know mostly everything about the game, you can check out that video. But now here we are, about a month and some change away from official release. Since the reveal, we've gotten more gameplay, more dope music. I'd play more of that, but it's probably copyrighted, and we also got more info on loot, which you guessed it is what we're here talking about today because it's what we always talk about. As always, my name is just Jared, but you can just call me Jared no matter what my channel name still says. I'm finally back. After a week-long sickness, absolutely destroyed my life and my upload schedule. I'm ready to talk about games and loot again, frick yeah, so let's talk about what you can expect in terms of loot in the Ascent. First of all, although I've seen a lot of media outlets make the comparison to Diablo, I personally don't think I'd compare the two even without playing the Ascent yet, basically due to the information I've gathered, within the process of making this video. Diablo is a top-down action RPG, the Ascent is a top-down action RPG. That's basically where I'd end the comparison. What you've come to expect in an action RPG is in the Ascent. You've got level ups and skills, attributes, augmentations, modifications, gear, etc., but those aren't exclusive to Diablo. Those mechanics or versions of them are found in every game with RPG in the genre. That's why I wouldn't really compare Diablo to the Ascent. Not only that, but it plays a lot different as well. This is a twin-stick shooter where you hide behind cover and play more tactically and can shoot over cover and high up in the air. You also won't be getting mountains of loot like in Diablo or a lot of other action RPGs. Every piece of loot in the Ascent, be it weapon, armor, or augmentation, is handcrafted and can only be obtained via specific means, i.e. certain side quests have a specific loot reward, bosses drop specific gear, certain enemies have drop rates for certain gear, chests drop preset items, merchants have their own unique wares, etc. Loot isn't randomly dropped or randomly rolled. Every item has its set name, its set stats, and its set place to acquire it. Also, enemies that do have drop rates for gear will drop what makes sense for them to drop. I know that's kind of confusing, but let me explain it in this way. You know how in like Borderlands or in any other action RPG for the most part, you can kill like a bird and somehow it drops a rocket launcher? Yeah, none of that is going to happen in the Ascent. If an enemy is using a minigun, for example, what they'll drop is a minigun. Since rarities wouldn't really make sense in an action RPG with no random drops, rarities are instead replaced with different tiers of item qualities in the Ascent. The quality of an item can be upgraded with a special currency which will increase its effectiveness, and weapons are always at the base level of quality when you obtain them. I think armor can drop at varying qualities based on the wording of this tweet from Arcade, one of the devs, and that's what you're seeing when you see different color beams of light in the gameplay. Those colored beams usually indicate loot rarity, but in this case, I think it's armor quality, and the base quality is indicated with a red beam of light. I couldn't find any info on what higher qualities look like besides different colored beams of light in gameplay footage like blue, purple, and orange, so you're at least looking at 4 tiers of quality. Okay, that was a lot of info. Are you keeping up? Great. Let's talk armor. You've got 3 slots for armor, not nearly as many as other games in this genre. That's not criticism, I'm just saying. You've got a slot for helmet, upper body, and lower body, and you can customize the color of your armor whenever you want. Now, I would absolutely love to tell you what kind of stats you can expect to see on armor, but literally all the gameplay I've seen shows icons that indicate stats, so it's just a guessing game at this point without actually having hands-on with the game. There are 4 damage types, which are represented by icons as well. These I can go about guessing because they're more or less obvious. You've got standard damage type, which is just like your ordinary bullets. electric, fire, and I'm gonna guess corrosion or something like it for the last type because it makes sense with the universe that we're in. These icons are also on armor, but I'm not sure if the Ascent is doing the Diablo 3 thing where armor also increases the damage and type of damage you deal, or if the icons just indicate your resistances to those damage types instead, although I'd imagine it's the latter of the two because resistances just really makes more sense. Hopefully in the game you're able to like hover over the icons to see what each thing actually is. Armor can also increase your attributes, which are cyberpunk based. These attributes are cybernetics, motorics, biometrics, and frame, all of which are increased based on what gear you have equipped, what skills you spec into, and I'm assuming what augmentations you have as well. And last but not least, your armor can also give you bonuses to your skills. Moving right along to the weapons. You can carry 2 weapons at once, as well as a tactical weapon, which usually is like a grenade on a cooldown. We've already talked about the damage types. Other stats on guns include damage per shot, damage per second, fire modes, rounds per second, clip size, reload time, and knockback. You can find an assortment of weapon types in this game, from your standard pistols or SMGs, shotguns, snipers, assault rifles, to more crazy stuff like flamethrowers and laser beams, to even more bonkers off-the-wall weapons once you get further into the game. There's a really cool developer Q&A that I'll definitely recommend checking out. I do believe it's by Curve Digital, if I'm not mistaken, and it's basically the devs talking about the game and answering questions, obviously, but there's a part where they talk about their favorite weapons, and from this you can tell that there's going to be a lot of like weird humor thrown into this game, which is always great. There's a precision rifle that they talk about called the Boar Shot, a gun called the Crazy Maker, one called Bixor, which the devs pointed out means pants in Swedish, and there's another called the Overwhelmer. You've got the Strike Breaker, the Room Sweeper, the Chrome Puncher, just like aggressive words that sound like they could be weapons that hurt. There's also my personal favorite, the Frag Grenade, but then you have the Frag More and the Frag Most. Just genius name designs. I'll link that Q&A down in the description and pinned comment if you want to check it out on your own time. Some small extra things I'll point out before I end the video. The currency in the game is called Ucred, and you can buy as well as sell your gear at merchants. There's different merchants and black market dealers in the game that each have their own unique stock of loot to purchase. Exploring is key to finding hidden chests, which can contain loot that you can only find from those chests, which is cool. It encourages exploration as well as rewards exploration. Augmentations, which are your interchangeable abilities, can be purchased as well as found, and they can be upgraded. And I just can't wait to play this game. This is going to be the best looking action RPG visually. I still can't believe the depth that the game has in almost every shot of gameplay. There's so much happening on screen and in the background. The lighting looks just stunning. The ability animations and the sounds are wicked cool. Humongous props to Neon Giant because I really think this game is going to do really well, and I think it deserves it. You can tell the devs put tons of hard work into just making this world. The Ascent releases on July 29th on Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, Android, and will be available on Xbox Game Pass on day 1. But that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, because I poured my blood, sweat, and tears into this video, I promise you, and subscribe for more loot news on the Ascent as well as other games. We literally cover the loot mechanics of upcoming games, so if that's your thing, then this is the place to be. Also, I've got a deal of a lifetime for you. If you subscribe within the next 14 minutes on the dot, not a second over, I will personally send you your very own Bixor. Will it be the weapon from the game, or will it be a pair of pants? I'll never tell. Won't find out unless you subscribe. Do it for the pants. I mean the Bixor. I don't even know if that's how it's pronounced. Anyways, see you later.